All right, so it's trade deadline day, and we have an actual trade to talk about. That does not happen too often, but this is fun. I actually like this trade a lot from the Chiefs' perspective. I think it's a real underrated move for Kansas City. I think it's kind of blown under the radar in a lot of ways. So I want to talk about that and talk about kind of what this could mean for the Chiefs. For one thing, it's worth just pointing out that this is an insanely low risk move. I mean, for Kansas City, you're giving up a 6th-round pick, and you're only paying him $500,000 this year. The rest Pittsburgh is paying. So you're basically getting him for nothing. You're basically just getting Melvin Ingram. That's what's happening right here. Side note, I always want to call him Melvin Gordon. I might do that at one point in this video. I don't know why those names confuse me, even though obviously one's an edge rusher, the other is a halfback. In fact, when I first saw this, my first reaction was, oh, interesting. Okay, Melvin Gordon got traded to the Steelers. Didn't expect that. No, that is not what happened. I just read the tweet wrong initially. But here's what I really like about the move. So let's talk about pressures. Pressures are typically what we talk about when we're evaluating edge rushers. They're more consistent than just looking at sacks because, sacks can be kind of a lot more luck dependent than a pressure is, even though a sack is obviously more important than a pressure. That obviously helps you more. For someone like Melvin Ingram, he currently has 11 pressures in about 250 snaps. So the way to look at it is if he played 1,000 snaps this season, he'd probably be looking at like 44 pressures, which is a very good season. Now, he's not going to do that, obviously, because he's only played, about half of what he would have to do to really, hit that mark. And of course, if your playing time goes up, you might be more tired and might not get as many pressures per snap. So that's a little bit difficult to say it that way. But let's just say if he did play this entire season, he would have ended up with 40 pressures. Or a better way to phrase it might be if he becomes an everyday starter for the Chiefs, he could end up with 20 pressures throughout the second half of the season in the final 9 games. Well, typically an edge rusher, just a replacement level edge rusher, will get you 20 pressures a season. So you're basically, with this draft pick, the way I view it, is you're getting an extra 10 pressures, which doesn't sound like a ton, and I guess, in the grand scheme of things, it isn't. But again, you have to keep in mind what they're giving up. Just a 6th-round pick and $500,000 for Melvin Ingram. That's, again, not much. So 10 pressures doesn't sound like a lot. It's actually a decent amount. If you look at my expected points model and, my WAR stats, this is about, a 0.2 WAR player just for that half of the season. So overall, it'd be, about a 0.4 WAR player for Ingram. So for the little you're giving up, you're actually improving pretty impressively. So this is actually a really good move, and this is why I love these deadline deals, because you can get some really cheap rentals. I know people are kind of talking about, well, he's 32, it's only a 1-year deal. Sure, but then next year just trade your 6th-round pick for another one of these guys, right? Like, you can do it constantly, and you're going to end up with more value than if you tried to find a Melvin Ingram player that's 21 and, hope to get him for 10 years. You're going to spend a lot more money and resources doing it that way. It's also just a position of weakness, quite frankly. I mean, they're, current 2 starting edge rushers right now, really. I mean, you got 3 starting edge rushers because 3 guys with about the same amount of snaps as Melvin Ingram. You have Michael Dana, you have Frank Clark, and you have Alex Okafor, who are all listed on Pro Football Focus as their 3 edge rushers. And the highest they say about any of these guys is Michael Dana, who is currently the 82nd best edge rusher in football, according to them. Now, they have Chris Jones, who's played edge and interior, so a little bit different there. Chris Jones, obviously very good. Put him on the inside. Ingram is now your best pass rusher, and he can be a good pass rusher. It's just helping your team without having to give up basically any assets. That's what you want to do. That's what they're doing. I like this move. Always a big fan of these types of moves. From the Steelers' perspective, it's a little weird, right? Like, why are you doing this? What's the thought process here? Apparently, Ingram requested a trade, so I think that's what it is. I just think the Steelers are probably wanting to do the right thing for Ingram. For whatever reason, they're saying, you know what, it's not worth making you unhappy. We'll let you go to a team that you can start on, or at least have a chance to start on, because he's not getting as much playing time with the Steelers. I have to imagine that if Pittsburgh said, hey, we're going to get the most value for him, someone would have given up more than a 6th round pick, especially with the way teams value edge rushers. But I don't know. That's probably what happened. So, yeah, that's what I think about this trade. Really like it from the Chiefs' perspective. Is it a deal breaker that's going to make them a Super Bowl contender because of this trade? No. I do actually think there's a chance, though, that the Chiefs' defense starts playing better and everyone's going to give all of the credit to Ingram, even though I think the Chiefs' defense actually has started playing better these past few weeks regardless, just due to some personnel shifts. But regardless, it should be an interesting situation. Wondering how it'll play out. What do you guys think of this move? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.